Hare Krishna.
Looks like we lost, not able to, his line got
Yeah,
disconnected.
Prabuji got disconnected, I think.
Yeah.
I thought it is only problem with me. Correct.
Yes, Prabhuji, we cannot hear anything.
I think Sharat Prabhu's line got disconnected.
Yeah, let's keep few minutes.
Charu Prabhu, if you are speaking, Prabhu, you are, we are not able to hear it from you.
But I see Sharat Prabhu is there. He has gone on mute and video off.
Sharat Prabhu, are you there, Prabhu? If you are speaking, you are on mute, Prabhu.
Shall I call him? I'll call him. I'll call Prabuji.
Hello.
Sharat Prabhu's number is coming busy. Maybe one of us daily speaking to him. Prabuji seems back.
Can everybody hear?
Prabhu, you mute another mic, Prabhu. I think you have a two mic setup, so you can switch off one, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Turn off.
Still, it is echoing, Prabhu.
Speaker itself turn off, Prabhu. Not only just mute. Okay. Otherwise, like it will
Prabhu, yeah.
speaker itself will turn off. You just turn off the speaker. Mute alone in another device will not solve the problem.
Let me just.
Yeah, now
Yeah, looks now it is okay, Prabhu.
now okay, you can carry.
Okay. Let me. Now, can you hear clearly now?
Perfect, Prabhu. Now.
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Okay, let us have the next slide. Slide 4. Yeah, in slide 4, we'll see the sutras 34 to 41, very, very brief. And thereafter, each sutra will discuss in slightly greater detail. the Sutra 34, it says that sadhanani gayanti acharya. The standard authorities, the various acharyas, the previous acharyas, they have described about the methods of achieving devotional service, how it is to be achieved. And this chapter 34, this chapter 3, it deals with this only. We'll see in great detail. Then in Sutra 35, it says, Tattu Visaya Sanga Tyaga. One achieves bhakti by giving up sense gratification and mundane association. Now, what is sense gratification? Now, the sense gratification means we want to enjoy using our senses. We have the active senses are the power of talking, the hands, the legs, the vacuating outlet, the generating organ, the knowledge acquiring senses are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and the sense of touch. And the mind is in the center of the senses. It's sometimes called the 11th sense. With these senses, we should not try to enjoy ourselves, but we should try to satisfy the senses of the Supreme Lord, that is Lord Krishna. This we learn in Sutra 35. In Sutra 36, what is being said that Abhyabrata Bhajanad, one achieves bhakti by worshipping the Lord ceaselessly. Ceaselessly means what? Without any stoppage. Without any stoppage means 24 hours in a day. Then one may think how it is possible. We have to do other things. We have to sleep also. We have to eat food. We have to do so many other activities. But how it is possible? It seems contradictory. But actually it is not contradictory. How it can be done? We'll see that. And in Sutra 37, Lokepi Bhagavat Guna Sravana Kirtanad, on achieving bhakti by the standard processes of hearing and chanting about the Supreme Lord's special qualities, even while engaged in the ordinary activities of life in this world. That means even when we are engaged in the normal, mundane, day-to-day activities, still then it is possible to chant the name of the Supreme Lord and His qualities. How? We'll see what Srila Prabhupada he advises us and what example he gives. We'll see them in great detail. That means it is not contradictory to remember the Supreme Lord in spite of doing all our activities 24 hours in a day. And in the perfectional stage, you will be able to chant the name of the Lord when you are sleeping also. Even in Vrindavana, even the mortal remains, that is the bones of the devotees from whom the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra comes, they have also been found in Vrindavan. That is possible because at that perfectional stage, not only that we had been chanting with our mouth, using our tongue and all that, but the whole body will start chanting the name of the Lord spontaneously. That is possible. And that we will see. And then in Sutra 38, we'll see that Mukhyatastu Mahat Kripayava Bhagavat Kripa Lesadva. Primarily, however, one develops bhakti by the mercy of the great souls, that is the devotees, the sadhus, the Vaishnavas, or by a small drop of the Lord's mercy, Lord's little mercy, and the devotees' mercy. They are required for us to progress in the path of devotional service. And if we commit any Vaishnava Parada, then they are the biggest hindrance. They take away our everything, and we lose our everything in the path of devotional service. That's why we have to be very, very careful about this. And in Sutra 39, we'll see Mahat Sangastu Durlavo Agamyo Agamosya. Now the association of great souls is rarely obtained, and it is very, very difficult to understand. And if somebody obtains the association of the great souls, then it is infallible. He can achieve anything and everything because of their mercy. Please remember that whatever the Lord can give, his pure devotees can give the same thing. There is no difference. Even the devotees can give more than what the Lord can give, because they are more merciful than the Supreme Lord. This we have to remember always. Then in Sutra 40, we'll see Labhyate apitat kripayya. The association of great souls can be attained, but only by the Lord's mercy. Now this is very, very important. First the Lord's mercy, then the association of the great souls. Now you have heard Rupa Goswami, that famous verse, Ado Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sanga, that sloka. Ado means what? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Ado means Sadhu Sanga only. From Sadhu Sanga you get the other things. That is the Shraddha and other things, and from Shraddha you get Sadhu Sanga. Like this, these are all interdependent and they are not contradictory at all. We'll see them in greater detail. Now Sutra 41. Sutra 41 says that Tasminasta Jnane Veda Bhavat. One can attain bhakti either by association of the Lord's pure devotees or directly the Lord's mercy, because the Lord and his pure devotees are non-different. There is no difference. The potencies are the same. And as I told you, they are more merciful than the Supreme Lord. Now, what about sadhu? Who is a sadhu? Now, the 26 qualities of a sadhu, they are given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Some of them are, just to remind you, the sadhu is very, very kind, he is tolerant, he is truthful, he is equal to everybody, he is clean internally and externally, he is meek, he is peaceful, he is surrendered, self-surrendered to Lord Krishna, he is satisfied all the time and he does not want anything from the Lord or anybody else, and he is humble, self-restrained, he is frugal, he is respectful to everybody, anybody and everybody, and he lives a simple life. But when you see him, he is totally grave, as if he is not happy with you, and he is most compassionate, he is friendly to everybody, and he remains silent, he does not say so many words every now and then. Now we'll go on to the next slide, that is slide 5, and we'll see what is given in that. Slide 5 says the standard authorities have described the methods for achieving devotional service. Now, Narada Muni has described the essence of Parabhakti, that is the highest stage of devotional service. Now, here Narada Muni turns to the practices which one must perform to reach that stage. Now, this stage is known as sadhana bhakti. Now, we know the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti means discharging devotional services under the regulative principles. All the principles given in the Shastras, given by the Guru, they are to be followed. So, without Vaidhi bhakti, we cannot jump into Raganuga bhakti. Raga bhakti is spontaneous bhakti, and that does not require any regulative principles. And out of love, out of feeling, anyone wants to serve Krishna, that comes, and that is the Gopi Bhava, the Brajavasis, they had this tendency, that is the Raganuga bhakti. And all the inhabitants of Vrindavana that did not undergo any regulative principles, but spontaneously they were able to serve Lord Krishna to the fullest. Now here we have to remember that Krishna consciousness cannot be aroused simple by practice. If somebody thinks he will keep on practicing and he will achieve perfection, this cannot happen. Actually, there is no such practice. That's what Narada Muni is saying. And when we wish to develop our capacity for devotional service, there are certain processes they have to be accepted and we have to execute them to reach that level. And that will do what? That will cause our dormant capacity to be invoked. And this practice is known as sadhana bhakti, and in very great detail it is given in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Now the rules and regulations of bhakti, they are meant to cure a conditioned soul like us from the madness and the bondage and suffering in this material world. And Srila Prabhupada, he writes that when a man's mental disease is cured by the treatment of a psychiatrist, like this, sadhana bhakti will cure the conditioned soul of his madness under the spell of maya or material illusion. We are also covered like that, and sadhana bhakti will cure us. That is the medicine. And Narada Muni says that the methods he will teach have been given by the previous acharyas, those who teach not only by words but by examples. They practice and they teach us. Bhakti can be taught only by the Vaishnava acharyas or their representatives, and not by the teachers of comparative religion or impersonalists or other people who do not know what is given in the Sūtras. Still, we have to follow our parampara or tradition, and we have to see what our previous acharyas have told us. Therefore, the teachings are acceptable, should be acceptable to one and everybody, regardless of any sampradaya. Now, Narada Muni has used the word here, Gayanti. Gayanti means the acharyas joyfully, they have taught us these principles. Now, let us go on to the next slide, that is slide 6. In slide 6, we will see the Sutra 35. One achieves bhakti by giving up sense gratification and mundane association. Now, here we are talking of Visaya Tyaga. Now, what is Visaya? Visaya refers to the various objects of sense enjoyment which one indulges, then he is called a Visaya. Now, a Visaya, he cannot succeed in devotional service, he cannot proceed on this path and obtain the service of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, our previous acharyas, they have set down so many regulations for eating, how to get up in the morning, what to do throughout the day, and all these things. That's why Srila Prabhupada has also brought out the 4 regulative principles in ISKCON like this. And Narada Muni says that one should not only give up the gross practices of sense indulgence, but should even stop thinking of sense gratification. Now, not only that one should leave them, one should not think about them ever. And when you see so many things in this physical world, all these things, they come in the mind. That's why the word Sanga Tyaga is used. Sanga Tyaga indicates that one should refrain from associating with the sense objects, even within the mind and heart. Not only that, one should, in the all senses also, like eyes, you should not use your eyes to see such things. You should not hear the things through your ears, and like this, one should not use any of his senses because then you will remember and you will start thinking about sense gratification. And once you start thinking once, then in action also you will follow them after some time. That's why the acharyas of all religions consistently they are recommending that such renunciation of sense pleasures is a necessity. Without it, you cannot move, you cannot progress in the path of devotional service. But we have to remember that this practice is not very easy. And if we want to advance in bhakti, then we have to practice it. We have to follow what is given in the Shastra. We have to follow what is given by our previous acharyas. We have to follow what is the instructions given by our Guru. And this is also described in the Bhagavad Gita. Also, the Lord says that what is called renunciation is that to be same as yoga or linking oneself with the Supreme Lord. Then we should know that this Krishna conscious method of renunciation is to engage our mind and the senses in devotional service. That's why, if you remember the very famous verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, Anasaktasya Visayan, and that is when one is not attached to anything, but he simultaneously accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is situated above possessiveness. What does that mean? It means like eating, even eating sumptuous food, one should not do that. But if one is accepting the prasada, the food which has already been offered to the Lord, then you are free from all these defects. That means we should, with our eyes, see the Lord, that is the vigraha of the Lord, the limbs of the Lord. With our mind, we should think about the Lord. With our ears, we should hear about the Lord, His glories. And that's how we should use our senses. And an active devotee, he is more complete in renunciation than one who rejects material things without their relationship with the Lord, the Supreme Lord Krishna. We should know that if something is related to Krishna, then that is perfect. If that is not related to Krishna, then that is not to be followed. Likewise, any action we are doing, we should think about this. And this is known as the method of Yukta Vairagya. And this gives you full freedom, but it must be done rightly. Like what Srila Prabhupada says, that one should note that after doing something whimsically, it can be offered to the Lord. This cannot be done. Whimsically, you cannot do anything and you cannot offer anything and everything to the Lord. That sort of duty is not the order of Krishna, which comes from the disciplic succession. And in short, the sinful activities, they cannot be brought under the purview of offering everything to the Lord. Indeed, Srila Prabhupada would not accept his disciples unless they agreed to follow the 4 regulative principles. So this is very, very important. One has to accept them, then only one will be able to progress in this. And in Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, 1857, Lord is saying, the Krishna is saying what? If you cannot be an Ananya Bhakta, that is Anyavilasita Sunyam, on that lines, or you do not want to be a Sakama Bhakta, because that is not liked, then you become a Madhyama Bhakta. How? Matpara. Matpara means by taking me to be your goal of life. In other words, to be becoming Niskama. Then Mat Chitta Bhava means remembering me always 24 hours in a day. And Satatam means while doing those activities or at any time using the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, by being endowed with the fixed intelligence, Buddhi Yogam Upasatya. Now, we have to remember that although the embodied soul which is inside our conditioned body, the soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense enjoyment, it still remains with us. But seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, we have to fix our consciousness. That means we have to go for a higher taste. And this higher taste will get where? In Krishna consciousness. When we serve the Supreme Lord in various activities, in various seva, we will find they are far higher, far better, much more enjoyable transcendentally than the sense objects. And that's how we'll be able to progress in the path of devotional service. Now, previously Narada was saying that it is not sufficiently to merely hear about the spiritual life or tell others about this, but we have to actually practice it on ground and realize the fruits. And so the sadhana bhakta, actually he has to practice and he has to avoid these lusty and attachments on the strength of his vows, and Krishna is going to help them. And the Rupa Goswami in Upadesamrita, he also says about Sanga Tyaga, by which he means abandoning the association of non-devotees. Those who are not devoted to Krishna, they are non-devotees. And this is very, very important. When Lord Chaitanya was asked to define Vaishnava, he replied that Asat Sanga Tyaga e Vaishnava Achara. That means Vaishnava is one who gives up association of the worldly people who are non-devotees, who are not devotees. We should not mix with them. Then you may say, since we are grihasthas, we have to interact with so many people and all are not the devotees, rather majority are not devotees, then this is totally impracticable. How it is going to happen? But what we have to take the essence from here, the essence is do not mix with them. If you have to interact for a specified period of time or a specified occasion, you do it, then leave it. Then thereafter do not make friendship with them and keep on going. And that is to be avoided. And this is what is also said in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Kapila Muni, Lord Kapila advises his mother Devavati that while materialistic attachment is the greatest entanglement for the spiritual soul, that same attachment, when applied to the Supreme Lord, opens the door for liberation. And in this purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that this indicates that this propensity for attachment cannot be stopped. You cannot stop it. Therefore, please use it for a higher purpose. That's how you will be able to get over it. If we say we will get over it just like that, that is not possible. Well, having seen Sutra 35, let us go to Sutra 36. Next slide, slide 7. Yes. Slide, yes, Sutra 36. Now, here what the Narada Muni is saying, one achieves bhakti by worshipping the Lord ceaselessly 24 hours in a day without any stoppage. And as I told you, after giving the negative order to restrain the mind and the senses, he now gives a positive order to engage the mind and the senses in Krishna consciousness for a higher purpose. And Srila Prabhupada compares Krishna conscious activity to placing an iron rod in fire. If you put an iron rod in fire, after some time, the iron rod will like fire only with the flames, and it becomes hotter and hotter until eventually it becomes very, very fiery like the fire only. And in the same way, The devotee who steadily engages his mind in Krishna consciousness, mind and senses, he gradually becomes totally transformed, and eventually he becomes fully Krishna conscious. And if one is totally absorbed in Krishna's service, there is no scope of Maya to act on you. And it is also given, the examples are given in so many places in the Shastra. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is given Sabai Pum Saparo Dharma Yato Bhakti Radhakhya Jaya Tuki Apara Apratihata Yatha Suprasidati. Now, the supreme occupation of all human beings, the whole humanity, is that by which they can attain the loving devotional service of the Supreme Lord unto his transcendental service. And such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted. It should be without any break. And in this sutra, Narada Muni says, uses the word bhajana, which also appears in a slightly different way in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Now, in concluding his instruction on Ashtanga Yoga in the 6th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said that one who serves him with devotion and faith, Shraddhavan Bhajante Mam, is the highest yogi. And Srila Prabhupada has explained this, that this service comes from the Sanskrit root bhaj. Bhaj means service with love and faith in especially what is meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, one can avoid worshipping a respectable man or demigod. Just 1 second, I think some storm has come. I'll just close the door. Sorry for the interruption. Now, here what we were talking, bhakti is not a spiritual recreation for a few people, but it is intended for anybody and everybody, for everybody, and it cannot be avoided without dire consequences. That means we have to follow bhakti. And the Lord has confirmed in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Apichat Sudurachara Bhajate Mam Ananyavad Sadhur Eva Samanyata Samyak Vyavasthitohi. If we are proceeding in this path, and still then if somebody does some abominable action, then he is also considered a sadhu. And we have to understand this verse a little rightly. We should not think that when we are progressing in the path of devotional service, we can do anything and everything and ask forgiveness from the Lord because he thinks we are still sadhus. It is not that. The sadhus are two types. One who has studied the Shastras, he has followed the regulative principles, he has followed what is given in the Shastras and progressed. This is one type of sadhu. And the other type of sadhu is those who are doing devotional service by family tradition. Now, this verse of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this is applicable to the second type, not to the first type. That's why you should not think that you can do anything and everything and get away. Now, here we should remember that while we are busy in Krishna consciousness, we should not feel bored or restless. And in this context, Srila Prabhupada taught us the ninefold processes of bhakti as given by Prahlad Maharaj, the Navada Bhakti. We should follow them. And if we are perfect in even any one of them, then that will be good for us. Now, next slide. Now we'll have a break of 5 minutes, and thereafter we'll start. Next slide. Okay, we'll have a 5 minutes break. Just press where it is given start. Okay, you won't have the other version. If it is PDF version, then it will not work. Okay, I'll remind you after 5 minutes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Well, we'll commence our class. Mataji will go to slide 9. Santa Mataji, come to slide 9. Yes, we have come to slide 9. Sutra 37. Now, one achieves bhakti by hearing or chanting about the Lord's special qualities, even while engaged in ordinary activities in the world. Now, this may seem contradictory because someone may say that Narada is being very unreasonable in advocating this uninterrupted, loving devotional service. Now, how can this happen? We are busy throughout the day with so many the duties to maintain our family, maintain our house and other things, at the same time maintain constant bhajana. But we have to see what Narada Muni says and what our previous acharyas, they also say. They say that one should be aware of the worldly situation and we should know about the jiva's predicament. And that's how they are recommending that Shravanam and Kirtanam, hearing and chanting about the Lord for all persons at all times. An example of this Krishna conscious devotee is that one who is busy in this world was Arjuna only. Arjuna was Krishna's friend, but still he was able to follow this because Krishna advised him, as given in Bhagavad Gita, Tasmad Sarvesu Kalesu Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. You just remember me and you do your duty. You should always think of me in the form of Krishna, not anybody else. And at the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting in the battle because you are a Kshatriya. And with your activities which are dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence which are fixed on me, you will attain me without any doubt. Now, this is what is the thing. And Prabhupada, he writes that the Lord can never suggest anything which is impractical. And if it was not practical, then he would not have suggested this thing to Arjuna. This we should remember. Still, the other question remains, how can an active person perform double duty? Work and chant at the same time, but it is possible. Now, Prabhupada gave the example of a man who goes to work in an office while his young son is very ill at home. Now, out of natural affection for his son, the father is always thinking, how is the boy? How he must be doing? I hope he has not fever now. I hope he has taken the medicines. And the other example Srila Prabhupada gives, which is given by the Acharyas, it concerns a married woman's attachment for her parama. And now this example also we have seen in our various classes earlier. Here what is happening, the wife always thinks of her lover, even while doing her household chores. Now, here we have been told that the gopis, they had so-called husbands. Actually, that was illusory husbands, and that's how they were remembering Krishna like this. That's how this concept has come into the greatest example. And here, even if she is doing the household work, even if carefully doing everything so that her husband will not suspect her, still then she is able to remember. like this, there are so many methods to remember Krishna, even when we are doing our natural day-to-day normal duties, normal activities. And this is not contradictory, this is not impossible at all. And as we remember, Srila Prabhupada, he also worked for many years in Krishna consciousness as a businessman. But he used to think of the Supreme Lord like this always. And he addressed these problems realistically. And that's why, without stopping any of the activities, he was able to remember the Supreme Lord always. And this we should follow always. Now, next we go on to slide 10, Sutra 38. Yeah. Now, primarily, however, one develops bhakti by the mercy of great souls or by a small drop of Lord's mercy. Now, let us see what does it mean. Now Narada has outlined the main practices for a sadhaka, for a practitioner, for a devotee. And now he is emphasizing that the devotee cannot succeed simply by his own strength, of his own or his own endeavor, but only when he receives the mercy of Krishna's representative or a drop of Lord's direct mercy. And unless one seeks out the association of a sadhu, bhakti will remain distant. One cannot achieve bhakti. That's why it is required at all costs the mercy of the sadhu. And sadhu, we have to remember that he is not just an ordinary man with a saffron robe or a long beard like this. And sadhu is described in Bhagavad Gita as one who 24 hours in a day, unflinchingly he gets engaged in the devotional service. And even though one is found not to be following the strict rules and regulations of devotional service, like if he is in the Raga Bhakti platform, but if one has an unflinching faith, we have to see what it is and we have to accept a sadhu. And like when you go to Vrindavana or the other holy places, you find so many people and you actually do not know who is a sadhu, who is not a sadhu. And in that, you should not commit a Vaishnava aparadha by considering that some are not sadhus. Therefore, you have to accept that everybody is a sadhu and behave with them accordingly. And that way, we will be free from any Vaishnava aparadha. And if one associates with a sadhu, the result will be that the sadhu will teach him how to become a devotee, how to become a sadhu himself, and how a worshipper should be sincere servitor of the Supreme Lord. And that is what is the benefit. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it states that the spiritual mastery is absolutely essential for advancement in devotional service. That's why one must accept a spiritual master and proceed on this path. And then someday the Lord's mercy will be there. It will be available not only from the Supreme Lord but from his devotees also, because his devotees will instruct this individual on spiritual matters. Now let us go on to the next slide, slide 11. We will see Sutra 39. The association of great souls is really obtained and difficult to understand. Now this rarity we'll see in his instructions to Rupa Goswami at Dasaswamedha Ghat, Lord Chaitanya, he described how it is very rare to gain the association of a pure devotee. Now the Lord tells the Rupa Goswami that there are unlimited living beings amongst the 84 lakh species, and all these living entities are wandering from one body to the other. And they are also suffering within this universe. but a few living entities in human bodies may be divided into some are cultured, some are not cultured, and some who are ignorant of the Vedic principles and some who know it. And amongst them, those who know the Vedic principles, roughly may half of it may give lip service to these principles. They may not follow them. Then out of those who actually follow the Vedic principles, most may seek material rewards like wealth and high birth and elevation to heaven. And amongst millions of pious followers of the Vedic injunction, one may be actually a jnani. Out of many millions of such jnanis, Lord Chaitanya says that one may actually become a devotee from birth, and he will be thus he will be freed from birth and death. Now Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in so many places and also in Srimad Bhagavatam that such a person is going to achieve him. And sometimes the devotees are personally attacked by violence and other means. And Lord Jesus Christ was crucified, that we know. Haridas Thakur was caned in 22 marketplaces. Lord Chaitanya, he was a principal assistant or devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu was violently attacked by Jagai and Madai. All these things may happen. But still we have to remember that although a sadhu is not inimical towards anyone, the world is so ungrateful that even a sadhu has many enemies. It is not that he doesn't have any enemy. But if one gets the association of a Mahatma and is receptive to his blessings, and one will be totally benefited from these actions. And Narada is an excellent example. We know what Narada Muni was in his previous life, that how he became Narada Muni, all these things we know from Srimad Bhagavatam. And then next we go on to slide 12. We'll see Sutra 40 and 41 together. Now here, the association of great souls can be attained, but only by the Lord's mercy only. Now, granted, a pure devotee of Krishna is rarely ever found. Nevertheless, Krishna arranges a true seeker to find such a great soul in your life. It is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. Now, here we have to remember that according to one's karma, all the living entities are wandering throughout these material universes, and some of them are being elevated to upper planetary system, some to the lower planetary systems, some to this material earth, and out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very, very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. And by mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. And once this creeper is planted, then it is watered by chanting the name of the Lord. And that's how one progresses in the path of devotional service. And when Dhruva Maharaj was talking with his mother Suniti of all the incidents that had taken place in the palace, Narada was not present. Thus the question may arise how Narada overheard all these topics, and then thereafter he advised Dhruva Maharaj, and Dhruva Maharaj could see the Supreme Lord in such a short time of 6 months. Now the answer is that Narada Muni is Trikalagya. He is so powerful. He is one of the greatest devotees of the Supreme Lord. Because as we have already said, the powers of a devotee and the Supreme Lord, they are almost the same. Almost the same. He has got the same thing. That means the devotee, pure devotee, he will be able to know what is going in our heart. That's why when you are in front of your spiritual master, be very, very careful. He will be reading your hearts, what thoughts are going on in your mind, that he will read, because he has got the blessings of the Supreme Lord, and he is the representative of the Supreme Lord, and he has got almost the same powers, same potency of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, after understanding the strong determination of Dhruva Maharaj, Narada Muni came to help him. And it may be explained this way: the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma. And as soon as he understands that a living entity is serious about entering devotional service, he sends his representative, that is the spiritual master. And in this way, Narada was sent to Dhruva Maharaj. Now, in 41, we see that one can attain bhakti either by the association of the Lord's pure devotee or directly by the Lord's mercy, because the Lord and his pure devotees are non-different. That means there is no difference in powers between the devotee and the Supreme Lord. Now, there may be many other interpretations by the Mayavadis, many other people, but Vaishnavas, they do not tolerate the blasphemous and the word jugglery of the, the sinful people. We should know that the Lord is Satchidananda and is different from that of the living entity in both the conditioned state and the liberated state. And although the Mayavadis will continue to misunderstand the philosophy of the Supreme Lord, still then we have to understand by the teachings of the Acharyas. Now, having understood what is bhakti and how we have to proceed on this path, I have got a question for all the devotees. Please answer. Out of this following, what I will be describing, who is doing bhakti? Who is doing bhakti? Who is practicing devotional service? I'll be giving about 10, 12 examples when we go to the question answer session after 1 minute or so. We'll see that. Now, suppose somebody is getting up early in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Is it bhakti? A person, he does not eat any onion, garlic, or any meat products or eggs. Is he doing bhakti? A person who is not playing gambling, is he doing bhakti? One who is helping the poor by providing food, clothing, etc. He is treating the injured animals. He is feeding the stray dogs, monkeys, birds. He is taking the injured people on the road who have met with accidents to hospitals, spending money, treating them. He is offering water to the people during summer season. He has shraddha for the Lord. He has some liking for the Lord. He takes care of the trees, shrubs by watering them. This is one category. The other person, he stays in Vrindavana, he does not chant the name of the Lord, just eats and sleeps there in Vrindavana only. Then out of them, who is a devotee and who is not a devotee? This is my question. Now, I have come to the end of our session 7 today. Now it is open to all the devotees for comments and questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, hope you're able to hear me. Wonderful session, Prabhu. Thank you very much. So by reading this, by listening this, we can understand how fortunate we are. We got a guru. Okay, at least if I'm not initiated, at least the Prabhupada is a Siksha Guru. Okay, so you said like it is very difficult to get even upper planets, lower planets. Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Okay, for a wonderful session. I have one question, Prabhu, and also I have an answer for your question. Okay, I'll try to answer in my words. Yeah. Okay. So we always talk about higher test, Prabhu. getting a higher taste. The problem is I'm chanting Prabhu, okay, I'm doing Aarti, okay, then but still for chanting very little taste, okay, I'm just hearing it because Shiksha Guru said like while chanting you should hear, so not tasted, but still struggled with the lower taste. Now the problem is like once you taste the higher taste, you automatically leave the lower taste. Correct, Prabhu? Lower taste is with sense gratification. But unless you taste higher thing, you can't leave this lower. But you continue having this lower taste, you can't achieve the higher taste. Correct, Prabhu? This is like a cycle. So even though I am a sadhana, not fully tasted that higher taste, okay, still getting stuck with this lower taste. Because of the stuck with lower taste, not able to focus 100% on the higher taste. So how do you come out of this situation, Prabhu? I'm not sure whether.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for this excellent question. What Prabhuji is asking, how do you get this higher taste? We are doing all the things. We are chanting the name of the Lord over the years, over so many years. We are doing the Archa Vigraha Puja, worshipping the Lord, doing so many service. We are studying the Shastras. We are attending these classes. Still, we are not getting the higher taste. Now, what is the reason behind this and how to get over this? Now, there is only one reason. It is Vaishnava Aparadha. It is our Aparadha. Now, you may say, I am not committing any Aparadha. Knowingly, unknowingly, yes, you may be committing, that is different thing. But what has happened, we have got a old baggage of our previous lives. If we have committed offenses in our previous lives, they are also with us. And unless we burn them, our sins will also not get burned. Actually, sins can get burned much earlier, much easily. But these offenses, they get negativated or negated. It is very difficult to do that. And this is happening because of our offenses. Now, what happened to Ajamila as we were talking the other day? Ajamila, somehow he had not committed any offenses in his any previous life or in this life also. He had committed sins, grave sins, including murdering brahmanas, looting and doing all sorts of abominous things he used to do, but he did not have any aparadha in his account. And that's why when his 10th son was born and in his Namkarana Sanskara, he uttered the name Narayana once only. From that day he was totally liberated. But we are not so fortunate. Somehow we have got offenses. That's why we are not progressing as we want to progress. Now, what is the way out? The way out is nothing but consciously do not commit any Vaishnava aparadha, the aparadha against Vaishnava, and chant the name of the Lord and follow the regulatory principles, get initiated, follow the instructions of the spiritual master, and gradually the Lord will help us. That is the only way, there is no other way. This is what answer I can give you. At the end, we'll request the Charu Prabuji to give some more insight into this.
So like because of aparadas in this life or previous life, I'm not able to get the taste. That is a summary.
Yes,
Okay.
not only previous, even this life also, without knowing also, we may be committing aparadha. Like there are so many people standing, there may be a devotee there, maybe a Madhyama Adhikari, or a pure devotee even, but from their behavior, we do not recognize them. And we consider them in our mind, say we consider that he is not a devotee. he is doing this thing, that thing, and we try to criticize him, and we do not welcome him, and all these things which are given in the Sūtras, if we do, then unknowingly also we are committing aparadha. Not knowingly, that can happen, but unknowingly if we commit any aparadha also, that will go into our account and will be affected by that, and that is more serious than committing sins. That has to be understood. That's why we should make an endeavor not to commit any aparadha knowingly or unknowingly.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Okay, coming to your answer, Prabhu, I'll just try to answer in a minute. You asked like getting up early morning is bhakti, okay, and doing various things, you said. Like. So in my understanding, Prabhu, bhakti is nothing but remembering Krishna for whatever tasks you do. For example, I am eating, okay, so you should eat it as a Krishna prasad, okay. You should remember that every morsel is given by Krishna. You drinking, you taste the water, when you're tasting the water, you should remember the Krishna, because in Bhagavad Gita Krishna said that I am the taste of water, okay. And you're going for a job, okay, and you need a petrol, you stopped at a petrol bunk, you should thank Krishna for giving that from the earth, okay. And you started working, you should thank Krishna because the job is given to you, and you are getting a salary, you should thank Krishna because you got a salary for surviving a Vaishnava family and surviving and helping the temples, okay. So you're sleeping, you should thank Krishna because he's allowing is to sleep so that you take enough rest. So whatever you do, you're talking, okay, you should thank Krishna. You are seeing deity, you should thank Krishna. You are seeing a building, you should thank Krishna. So everywhere, every second, whatever task you are doing, you're breathing, you're taking a breath. When you're taking a breath, that itself gives a happiness, okay, because its nostrils are not closed, okay. If somebody is in a bed, he may not be able to take the breath properly. My mother, okay, she left her body a month back. She could not breathe properly. So we have put oxygen. She could not breathe. What is the reason? Okay, her health is not supported. Her lungs are not supported. Yeah. So our lungs are supported because of the energy given by Krishna. So whatever you are taking a breath, you're closing eyes, opening eyes, seeing. Okay, if you could see that, that's a mercy of Krishna, then that is bhakti, Prabhu. Bhakti, in my understanding, is nothing but gratitude every second, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabuji. What do you mean? Anything connected with Krishna we should do. Any activity.
Any activity. It is because of mercy of Krishna only. Okay.
Then it will
gratitude and gratitude.
Yes, like getting up 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, that cannot be bhakti. But by doing that, you get ready and go for the Mangalarati, then that is bhakti.
Yes, yes, correct. Yes, Prabhu. You are correct, Prabhu. Getting up 3 o'clock is not bhakti. But after getting up 3 o'clock, what is that I am doing? Okay. Am I actually showing the gratitude to Krishna by any activity? That is bhakti, Prabhu. Okay.
And if I am getting up at 4 o'clock to do seva of the Supreme Lord, then that is bhakti. That means somehow it has to be connected with Krishna.
Correct,
If
correct.
it is connected, then it comes in the path of bhakti. Otherwise, it does not come.
Yeah.
That has to
Prabhu,
be
understood. Even Prabhu, I'll just give you an example. I woke up at 3 o'clock. At 3 to 4:30, I did some chanting, or 3 to 4, I did a jogging. But even jogging, okay, while walking, while doing the jogging, I remember that the legs energy is given by Krishna. Legs itself is given. Legs those given by Krishna. If I remember that and I do the jogging and I see the nature, everything I am correlating with Krishna. Every leaf Krishna is given. It is because everything is came from Krishna. Then if you have that attitude, that is bhakti only. But without Krishna and you are jogging, okay, and you are thinking that you are jogging because of your energy, then that is not Krishna, bro. Then that is not bhakti, bro. Yeah, that is my understanding, bro. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Samta Mataji, please stop sharing the screen so that we can see each other. Okay. So we have to remember that we have to connect with Krishna and in each and every activity. then that will help us.
Yes.
And that will take us in the path of devotional service. That is what is the gist of what Prasad Prabuji was saying.
Yes, Prabhu.
If
Thank
it
you,
is not connected with Krishna, then it is not to be undertaken. This is very, very important.
Thank you,
Any
Prabhu.
Hare
other
Krishna.
comment or any other question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Radhavendra Das. Prabhu gave wonderful example, try to give a graphic, So the underlying thread is what is the intention? Our intention. We are getting in the morning for what purpose? Again, the Prabhuji was talking about. So every activity, every thought, everything, the intention is the intention for Krishna. It's a bhakti. If intention is missing Krishna, it's not bhakti. So intention counts. All activities. Sometimes we do some overly activities, like you gave a lot of example. So we can think of putting some saffron cloth or taking bath in the morning and going to the temple to show also. It can happen. It can be auspicious thing. But the intent to please the Krishna, see the wonderful form of deities in the temple, and whatever little bit of service, if that is the intent, then that takes us closer to Krishna. And other than that, so it's a very long process, as he was giving. Maybe Prabhuji, as I see that maybe previous karma offenses, we always make offenses, not with the devotee, with the Krishna. We go to in front of Krishna and say that, Krishna, give me this, give me that. What we are doing there? Are we not competing with the Krishna? We tell the Krishna, you don't know what I want, but you tell me, I'm asking you what you want. So we do that knowingly or unknowingly. Whatever read scripture we do, whatever we do, and this is the problem that we have. As you mentioned, we do everything. We do 16 round chant and 25 doing everything. But Vaishnava Aparadha is the one thing we are not able to get away, and that's why it will take some time also. Right, Prabhuji? That's what I understand. Intent is the key everywhere. The underlying principle. That's what I could see, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Like you see, because of these aparadhas, we have not yet gone to the spiritual world. We know the life of Brahma is 311 trillion years, and we, our soul, our Atma, would have seen millions and billions and so many crores of Brahmas, but still then we have not been able to get delivered. But at least in this life, we are coming on the right line. It will take a few more lifetimes, but certainly the Lord is going to help us. And this is a very positive thing. That's why we should associate with the sadhus, we should associate with the devotees, and follow the various principles given in the Sūtras and given by our acharyas. Then we will be benefited. Any other comment or question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. What about the person who is sleeping in Vrindavan but not chanting Lord's name? While listening to Vrindavan Mahatmya, Mathura Mahatmya, we heard that he is also doing bhakti and God will save him.
I had put that deliberately along with the others. If you remember what Rupa Goswami says while defining the 64 angas of bhakti, one of them is Mathura Vasa. That means just by staying there, that is bhakti. That is very correct. And all other examples I gave, they are not bhakti. That has to be understood. This is very, very correct. That means things have been correctly understood.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Any other question or comment? Charu Prabhuji wants to say something, please. Charu Prabhuji, your mic is off.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All good. Prabhupada. Somebody's microphone is on, that's why it's giving a lot of disturbance. Hello.
Yeah, Mataji microphone is off. Vijaya Mataji microphone is on. So, okay. It is
Hello.
music. It is
Shakti
Sanjeev
Prabhuji,
Prabhu's
please
idea.
mute them.
Hello,
Shakti
Vijay. Can you turn off the microphone? Yes, good, better.
Yeah,
I just want to respond to the question of Prasad Prabhuji. Very, very intelligent questions and very honest question. We all go through that kind of same issue, you know, because Prabhupada repeatedly says that you must develop taste. You know, how do you develop taste? And but Vinod Prabhu, I'm not sure if I got the right name actually. Prabhuji, can you correct me? What's the Vinod Prabhuji?
Yeah, Radha Vinod Das Prabhuji.
Okay, Radha Vinod. What you said is exactly putting your finger right on the button, you know, that one has to intent, you know, when you chant, you should be consciously thinking that I'm trying to connect with Krishna and I'm really would like to do that, but I'm unable to do that. So, Prabhuji, my Lord, please help me, you know. So the intent is to please Krishna. Now, what is my intent? How I'm being able to connect with all of you through my PowerPoints, right? I spend hours and hours, not only hours, sometimes days on a single slide. I shared my the principal slide of this Prem Vivarta course. That same slide, I have been working days and days, and then I wanted to get an intent, and I wanted to get a reaction from all of you also. And I invited, okay, and I gave 3 different choices, and finally you gave the third one that came out right. So here you see my intent. I'm trying to see if I can satisfy, how I can involve all of you, you know. So that was my intent. And because my intent is there, I have to constantly endeavor for that. Okay, sometimes, so Prabhuji said very right. You have to have patience also, you know. So it will come. And I remember once Prabhupada was giving an example. He was leading a kirtan in the temple, and so Prabhupada likes everyone to dance, right? And one of the devotee, he did not want to dance. He did not enjoy dancing, you know. So Prabhupada asked him, "Why aren't you dancing?" So Prabhupada, I don't like to dance, you know. So Prabhupada replied to him, "Dance anywhere." so since Prabhupada said, he started dancing, and sure enough, afterwards he got the enjoyment, you know, because his intent there was to please Prabhupada. Prabhupada asking him, you know, and then slowly he got himself the taste. Just I give you my own example. My intent is to really how I can satisfy all of you and get involved. And another my intent is how to motivate you to ask questions. Because I realize when you ask questions, that the presenter, you notice that a speaker speaks for about 40-45 minutes, but much more things can come out, does come out in the question and answer session. So, in how do you ask questions? The question has to come from you, right? And so you have to get involved in it. Just like Prabhupada asked the devotee, even if you don't enjoy it, dance anywhere. If you do the process itself, the process is so potent enough, the interest will come. It will come. So Aparadhana is also, in fact, Madhurya Kadambini, there are series of lessons that we will see. A lot of these aparadhas also impede our interest in everything. So that will be there, of course. But somehow or other, unless you have an intent, unless you have a particular purpose, then that taste will not come. So here we are trying to please our Guru, our Sadhu, all the other fellow devotees, and get involved in it. And in order to get involved in it, you know, keep trying it with patience. And slowly and definitely, I can share you with my own experience. When I do this hours and hours I spend preparing these PowerPoints, I have the intent to please all of you. if I'm able to succeed in pleasing all of you, then only I'll be able to please Krishna, my Guru. So that is where the taste will come. It will come, definitely, I'm telling you. It will come. But you have to dance anyway, even if you don't like it now. So keep chanting. And you chant, your mind is to be focused. See, one of the slides that you saw, my slides, it says that why do we need senses in the mind? Because if your sense in the mind is struggling, is wandering around other things in your life, then even if you are doing something for Krishna, you will not develop taste. Your mind has to be involved in it consciously. Because we cannot serve Krishna without our mind in it. In your friendship also, you in your friendship, in your relationship, in your family, if your mind is not engaged and you're just talking like that, the other person is not going to sense that you are involved with him or her. So that Prabhuji really I like it very much, the intent. Slowly and surely you have to develop the intent that I'm trying to please Krishna. I'm trying to also please my fellow devotees. Because fellow devotees, we help each other, paraspara. And that's why I'm struggling, all of you, except for the few handful of devotees. Others are silently listening, passively. So they are never going to develop interest. They are doing it because we are telling them to always be regular, attendance, everything is required. So sometimes Guru or the senior devotees, sometimes they force you to do it. Just like Prabhupada told that devotee, even if you don't enjoy it, dance anyway, because I'm telling you. So that's what I'm saying then. And you will involve more if you really actively involve. When I send PowerPoints 1 week in advance, at least invest some time, efforts to go through that. And you will definitely come up with questions. Why Prasad Prabhu, Raju Prabhu, all these people are every day, in every class, they always manage to ask some question because they're involved in it. Their intent is there. How I can please Charuchandra? No, I'm an ordinary person. But their intent is there, So that is how you develop taste. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. This is giving a hope, okay, to have a higher taste at some point of time in my life, in this life only. Yeah. Intention.
It will come.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you,
Rad.
Okay,
process is important.
Thank you very much, Sharat Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Radha Vinod Prabhu. Hare Prabhu, you gone in mute, Prabhu.
So what Prabhuji has said, even if you do not get any test, even if you do not like, or even if there are any problem, anything, but still keep on chanting, you will get the result. Because the Lord will come and he will give the result directly. And the other thing is, don't deliberately commit any Vaishnava Aparadha, because that is most serious. If we take care of these things, then we'll proceed on this path of devotional service. Any other question or comments from anybody? Okay, if no questions or comments are coming, then we'll conclude today's class with the Nrsinga prayers. I will request Sagar Prabuji to do the needful, please.
Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obsession. All go to Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhai. Namaste Narasimhai. Prahlada Ladahini. Prahlada Ladahini. Hiranyakasi Purvakshan. Hiranyakasi Purvakshan. Silatankar Nathali Chilatankarnathali. Ito Narsingha, Parato Narsingha, Ito Narsingha, Parato Narsingha, Ito Yami, Ito Narsingha, Ito Yami, Ito Narsingha, Bhai Narsingha, Hriday Narsingha, Bhai Narsingha, Hriday Narsingha, Narasingha Madin Saranam Prapade, Narasingha Madin Saranam Prapade. Avakala kamala bhare nakhaduta singam dalita hiranyakasipur tanubringam kesavadhita narahari rupa jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare Avakala kamala bhare nakhaduta singam dhalita hiranyakasipur tanubringam kesavadhita narahari rupa jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय चारु प्रभु की जय शरद प्रभु की जय गुरुदेव की जय ऑल एस्टेब्लिश्ड डिवोटी की जय होस हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna,
very
Prabhuji,
much.
Dandavat Pranam.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Then we meet tomorrow at the same time for lesson 8. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.